Hello, how is doing everyone? Welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. So today we're going to take a look at some potential strikers that we need to look at. We'll have a look at the squad depth in a second as well, where we're at in terms of every position filled. And we'll also have a little look at what they've been saying about the player who's heavily linked today. So welcome everybody. Drop us a massive like. We are not live today. This is an upload. So drop us a comment down there below for strikers, names, etc., that you would like to see coming at Newcastle, because we're getting a little bit desperate. What are 10 days left of the transfer window? The whole situation of Alexander Isak isn't resolved. Juan Vissa, what's going on there? That it seems like the brakes are on that at the moment, although a lot of people still think that'll happen. And we need strikers in, possibly even two, because we don't even know what's going to go with Isak. Are Liverpool going to come back in for him? Obviously, we'll play Liverpool on Monday night, so all the stuff with Liverpool will be coming up in the next couple of days or so on the channel. But let's get cracking, everyone. Let's have a little look at squad depth. Now, currently, this is Newcastle United squad depth. I think we are almost full except from the strikers. We've got plenty of keepers, plenty of choice at right back. Even Emil Kraft can fill over. Even Tino Livramento can fill over at left back. Obviously, you've got Howe, Target. You've plenty of centre backs now with Matheus Cunha, who's come in, so we're blessed in that department. We've got six centre midfielders, which Eddie Howe likes, and the likes of Joe Linton, Ramsey, Bruno Gomes, Miley, Tonali, and Willock. So plenty of cover there. And just speaking of Joe Willock, he's back in training, so that looks good. So he's not too far away. On the right hand side, you've got Alanga, you've got Jacob Murphy. On the left, you've got Gordon and Barnes, and then of course you've got Willis Sula up top. But that's the position we are very, very weak in. And of course, you do have a lot of under 21 lads who can fill in out in the wings as well, the likes of Park Sung Soo and Trevor Sanusi. But we're not going to go into that. This is just predominantly first team, so there's no question about it. We need strikers. That's doesn't take a genius to work that out, even if you didn't support the club. And what I wanted to look at is the striker who has been heavily linked again today, and he was linked 3 days ago, which is Jorgen Strand Larsen from Wolves. Now, when you think of that name, you go, but what we've got to remember is that we can't sign a world-class striker because we've developed Alexander Isak into that. We can't go and sign anybody who comes in after Isak is a downgrade, because we're going to have to potentially upscale them, like Eddie Howe has done with several members of the squad, make their ability better, and prove them for the next 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, whatever. So we know that. So I think realistically, we've got to expect that we're not going to get that caliber of player, because Eddie Howe and his coaching squad and the staff, and the rest have trained him up to be this elite player. So it has to be the same again. It has to be possibly another risk. And we'll take a look at the share screen facility. And if we'll come over to the players and stuff a little bit later. But if we jump across to the stories here, that Jorgen Strand Larsen may move from Wolves to Newcastle. So the Express and the Star today have said that Wolves face a fight to keep the star striker. And it's believed that the Newcastle's valuation of Larsen and Wolves is only £5 million apart. So make of that of what you will. But it's back in the news today with Jorgen Strand Larsen. Let's see if this article loads with hundreds of adverts. It doesn't look like it is, but you can read that. We'll just pause that because we don't want any copyright. So yeah, you can read that, and it's a paid version. So we're not going to go into that because I don't want you to pay either. But if we move across to how he got on last season. Now, if you look at his age, he's at a good age. He's only just recently turned 25. Different type of striker, though. He's absolutely a giant, tall. Obviously, Norway have a plethora of strikers at the moment. You've got Sola, you've got Larsen, and you've got Haaland, who can all play up top. And they've got some quality midfielders as well, and out wide Norway. So the Norway are really blessed at the moment. 14 goals last season from 35 appearances isn't too bad. And in fact, it's decent. I'll tell a lie, it's decent for a side that struggled. If he had more calibre of chances, naturally you would think that ratio would go up. Obviously, Juan Vissa scored 19 in a side with Brentford that was, top 10? Thereabouts. So them stats look a lot more impressive. And if we go through his previous season, where he was in La Liga. So he's done it in a couple of leagues, similar kind of stats, 1 goal less, a couple of games more in La Liga. So it's not the worst name I've seen. However, it doesn't scream wow, does it? And again, we've got to get used to that. We have to. So will the style of play change if Larsen comes in? Because he's not exactly mobile like Alexander Isak, can take the ball on himself and create something out himself. Larsen will need chances. And look, we've got pace left and right with Alanga, Murphy, Gordon and Barnes. So there could be service made. We might have to maybe change our style up a little bit because obviously Larsen will want deliveries. I want to know how you lot feel about this link. Could it come back today? And it's getting to a stage now, as I say, that we are getting a little bit desperate in terms of that. If we go past August with Willisula as our only recognised striker, it's probably going to be Anthony Gordon up top. Realistically, he'd probably be moved in off the wing. And that worries me. It really worries me. Newcastle have got to get the skates on. They've got to get a move on to start bringing in whether it's Vissa. And look, I think Vissa will happen. It's just taking a long time. It is a little bit frustrating. We can't lie, can we? So that leaves me nicely on to a couple of things that people have been saying about Jorgen Strand Larsen, and we'll go through this. And this is a Wolves fan making a trip up to Newcastle in a few weeks to see Jorgen Strand Larsen play. ... For Newcastle United. £60 million is a good price though. To say we bought him for 25 million 2 months ago, and it's got to remember that he was on loan and that deal was made permanently just this summer, so Wolves will get a massive profit on him. And then Carl's gone on to say swapping out Alexander Isak for Jorgen Strand Larsen is up there with replacing Thomas Frank with Keith Andrews, so he's not a big fan. But I think realistically you've got to remember that we can't sign world-class strikers. We're not in that position. PSR's fucked with our. Daniel's gone on to say Jorgen Strand Larsen would be a quality signing if we can get it done, man. Man is pure out number 9, and in that mind could very well succeed in our team. Let's hope we can get something done in the last couple of weeks. And then Joe's gone on to say Jorgen Strand Larsen is some player mind. His hold-up play would be amazing for our wingers. Gordon and Alanga would have a field day. Looks like a quality player. So predominantly from what I've seen, and look, you can't read too much into social media, but a lot of people, I would say probably 2/3 would be in favour of the signing, probably a third of the fan base, just judging it by social media. And you shouldn't really judge it by that. I know you're going to say that in the comments, but looking online, probably a third are against that signing. So, but I think, again, I'll say it again, realistically, we're going to come down a peg if we're going to get a striker in, because we've done now what's happened if Isak stays, Larsen could be a great alternative as a number 2, same as Vissa. We just don't know because that cloud's hovering over us at the moment. We don't know whether Isak's going to be a Toon player after August the 31st. I want him gone, and I've said that numerous of times as well. But what I do want to do is have a look at some names that you guys have mentioned in some of our shows and our comments down there below. So this is someone who I did a video on a few months back, which is Arno Kilimiando. Good age, 23, had a fantastic season last season, scoring 17 goals in 33 appearances. So really, really impressive for Rennes. And they have a good, talented young side, by the way. So he was one of the top scorers because there wasn't many that were hitting 20s in Liga, and I think Dembele was the league's top scorer, which is incredible considering he plays out wide. But Kilimiendo, and he's been linked to a couple of English sides as well. Another one, a couple of years I mentioned Moises Keane in some of our lives as well. Obviously, Kim Evan was a failure, let's be honest, but he's gone back to Italy and done well. 25-year-old Italian international, scores 1 and 3. And look at his last season, 25 goals last season. That's impressive in all competitions, for obviously in the Domestic Cup Conference League as well in Serie A. So that's decent. So he's upped his game. Would he fancy move back to England? I don't think wages, a transfer fee, I don't think that'll be a problem for Newcastle. It's just whether he can convince the player that come back to England. Look, it'll be better for you this time. You're playing Champions League football. Sell the dream. Show them the bridges. And another one, and I didn't know much about this, and fair play, we got a super chat the last couple of days mentioned saying we should look at this lad, Mika Bireth, who was born in London, again, the right age, 22-year-old. Last season, he's had a transfer in mid-season, so he was playing in the Austrian League. Look at that, 11 goals and 16 appearances in the Austrian Bundesliga. Got his move to France, to Monaco, and again, 13 goals and 16 appearances. That is incredible. So that's what, 32 league games, and you're talking 25 goals in league. Yes, it's across two leagues which are weaker than the Premier League, granted. But again, he's another one who's at the right age and fits the profile. Another tall striker. I don't know if Eddie Howe fancies that kind of caliber of player, but look, it's another goal scorer who's on the market now. A Danish international, could have played for actually England, being born here, but he's another one that's been linked. And of course, the last one is Ollie Watkins. Now, Ollie Watkins is the only one out of these four players who's at the wrong age, because he's going to turn 30 by the end of the year, and we're not going to have a sell-on value. So PSR, it's a player, if we sign him, we're probably going to need to keep for a few years if that happens. And look, I know Villa have the PSR issues themselves, hence why we got Ramsey. But he scores just under 1 in 4 for England. He's not a regular for England, of course. He's back up to Harry Kane, and everybody is, to be honest. But look at his stats last season. Not as prolific as he has been, but still chipped in with 17 goals. Played a lot of football, a lot. 54 games. You're talking, it's effectively almost like 1 in every 3.5 games that he scores. But he has the pace to get behind. He can link up. He can play out wide as well if needs be. So Watkins is probably the one who has, out of those four players, is the one I would go for, but you've got no sell-on value. My second choice would probably take a punt on Moise Kean out of those four that I've just mentioned, because I think he's done well since he's moved away back to Italy, out of England. So those are my picks from your live chat. So if you've got any other names that you want to drop in the comments down there below, please let us know how you feel about. But obviously the news today is that Jorgen Strand Larsen is linked yet again. It's not going away. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Eddie's presser is tomorrow. We all know it's going to be about Alexander Isak. He's going to get hammered with it. But you'll get through it. He's professional enough. He knows what's coming. You'll be briefed about it as well. So we'll be back. We've got a lot of videos coming up over the weekend. Obviously, we're going to look at Liverpool preview. The whiteboard's going to be put back on the board. And we'll do that. And we'll talk about Liverpool. We've got the under-21s, of course, as well. They're playing Chelsea up at Whitley Park tomorrow, so we'll be there for that. Obviously, Eddie's press conference, so we'll hear stuff from there. And also, just last thing is Jay Turner-Cook has finally got a move. I will show you that as well before we wrap up. It's nice that he's got a move, because it was taking a little bit of a time for that to come through, wasn't it? So he's got his move to Halifax. So he spent a good few years at Newcastle after making the move. So well done, Jay Turner-Cook. He's got his move to Halifax. So good luck to the lad. Good luck indeed. That is going to be a wrap. As I say, plenty of content coming up. Drop us a massive like on this video. We'll love yous and leave yous. Get your comments down there, what you think about the link. Larsen, is he the right fit? Is he going to be the main guy? Could he handle that pressure if Isak goes? Or let me know. Is he back up? And obviously those player names that you guys have mentioned in the comments, we thought we'd bring that up. But yeah, and squad depth. Are we set for the squad now, except from striker? Obviously, we know we have to strengthen the striker, but everywhere else, are you guys happy with that? Again, let me know in the comments down there below. We'll see you very soon.